Good morning. I am here at my Airbnb in Oaxaca, Mexico, in El Centro de Oaxaca, the historic center. This video, as I've made other videos, is all about tiny spaces. Now, this space here, this is a full-size bed. It could actually be a queen. No, it's a full-size bed. Um, It's got a king-size headboard though. It's about 120 square feet total, maybe 130 with this little area here. What's behind there, and I'll show you that in a little bit. This is the main door. It is a sliding glass with metal frame door, and it has an exterior lock as well as an interior locking mechanism. And I'll show you the construction of that door later on, okay? So what's really unique about this space is that this space is pretty much 100% livable, almost as though it were a small apartment. So think about a small apartment in New York City. In fact, there are probably spaces in New York City that are smaller than this, probably 90 square feet, 100 square feet, that are also complete. So this comes with a little kitchenette, okay? This here is, I forget what kind of stovetop these are, but you know, it's smooth surface, and it is electric. Got a toaster oven here, which probably also is, nope, it's just a microwave. It's a toaster oven. It's got a hot water kettle here and bottled water, okay? I might make a cup of tea before I leave, but I don't need to. Also got a little Cuban style, or you know, a lot of folks know that little coffee pot is a Cuban style coffee pot, and some nice shelves here for plates and dishes and stuff like that. Good workspace here. You know, if I needed to use a cutting board here, I could put a cutting board here and prepare dishes. This is a good space for washing dishes. You're not going to make big meals here for, you know, a huge amount of people. You're probably going to make some scrambled eggs, heat up some tortillas, you know, heat up some leftovers and stuff like that. Make your coffee, make your tea, you know, read a book, you know, whatever. If you're a couple and you're here, you know, that's what you would make. And of course, you have outdoor space out here too, so you can cook your meal and go sit outside, okay? We are in Oaxaca, which is a warm area, warm and humid during the summertime. And during the cooler months, which I arrived the week of the cooler season and the drier season, I am here, I arrived here on November 9th, 2025, and I will be here for about 6 nights, 6 days. Definitely some good use of space here. This is an older building, so these walls are probably around anywhere from 14 to 20 inches thick. You know, they could be adobe. They could be a combination of adobe and concrete, depending on the age of the home. But adobe was very common, so there would be some really large, thick rafters like that. Okay, but the walls would primarily be adobe. So let's see. Let's take a look. Let's see how thick these are here. We get a good idea right here. Yeah, so they're almost 14 inches thick. Okay, and they probably are adobe then. Adobe and concrete or block, you know, cement block, not cinder block, unless this was newer. Cinder block wasn't used till later on. So this is a really good use of space. Good place to sleep. I slept really well last night. Very cool. The high roofs here. This is probably around 13 feet high or so. 13 to 14, possibly 14 feet, maybe even 15 feet. And the reason they made them that way is so that the hot air has a place to rise and stay away from you, stay away from the body. Okay. These are the windows here. Metal construction. The good thing, the other reason why this is a cool room also is because you have several floors above you that block the heat in the sun. So you don't have that radiant heat that's heating up that ceiling right there. If that was the top floor or the ceiling right there, the roof, then yes, these rooms could get hotter. So I was fortunate that this was a cool room. It was a cool room even when it was 80 degrees out yesterday. Even in the day, it was cool. So there's a door, there's the outdoor space, the courtyard. It's all sloped so that water drains into drains. You could pull a car in here. You could put a few cars in here if you needed to, wanted to. But it's a really beautiful space. And this is very typical in Latin America and Mexico. But let me continue my tiny space elements here, okay? So this is really good. It gives you a place to put your luggage. I travel with a backpack. This is all I travel with. Everything I had was in this little bag right here, okay? Everything is out of this bag right now, and I'll repack it, okay? And one pair of shoes down there. Now, last night I put the shoes up on top of the stools over here, and I'll wipe those stools down too for the next guest, because I do not like to see or have people put their shoes on top of furniture, on bus seats, on plane seats or anything. I think that's really rude, and that's really shows a really low level of education, because that's where people sit, you know, or lay down. So I don't do that. But because they were vinyl and I knew I could wipe them down, I did that, okay? Otherwise I would have probably placed my shoes in a bag and stuff them away somewhere. And the reason I did that and do that is because I don't want to wake up with a spider or a scorpion in the shoes. Now, I looked at the space really well last night, and I didn't see any spiders or anything that looked questionable. And that's nice. But during the more humid season, you know, it's going to be, it's unavoidable, okay? So this is a bathroom. And this is a really good use of space also here. This is probably around 4 by 3. No, maybe about 4.5 feet by 3 feet or so. And it's fully functional. I haven't showered yet. I'm going to take a shower right now. And I have used the commode here. It has everything you need for, you know, to wash up. You know, if you were here as a couple, you know, you might ask your lover, your mate to step outside, or I wouldn't need to be asked. You know, if my girlfriend was with me, I would just say, hey, honey, I'm going to step outside if you need. I'd ask her, I say, honey, you need to use the bathroom, or I know her. I'm going to know her habits. So I would just step outside and say, I'm going to go take a moment to read or explore outside the plants and flowers. And that gives her the time to take care of her business. And likewise, you know, I would probably ask her, hey, honey, you know, can I have some private time? You know, that's common courtesy, or maybe it's not common, it's just courteous. So this gives you a better idea of the space here. So this, like I said, is about 120, with the bathroom there, maybe 130 square feet or so. Full-size bed, place for the luggage. They even give you a heater because there is no central heater or anything like that. And believe me, it does get cold here in the wintertime. So, you know, probably in a couple of weeks or so, even last night it probably got into the 50s or so. But I was perfectly, this space, these types of spaces can maintain their temperature, once again, because of the thick walls. They don't change a lot, but once it does drop into 40s or 50s and it's overcast and it wasn't a warm day all day for a couple of days, then yes, these spaces will be cold, and they have an extra blanket here and the heater, which would be very welcome during those periods and stuff like that. And of course, if you're with your lover, you know, then you got body heat. So let's be serious, okay? Life is not that complicated. I really like the art that they chose. I thought these were really nice little elements. They go well with the color. I think whoever set this space up knows what they're doing, has traveled a lot, and understand their guests' needs, okay? Which is really important. Let's discuss this sink here. This is an all concrete sink. It's probably part cinder blocks or part cinder block. These are probably cinder blocks here, blocks, and then covered with cement. And then this is created all with cement. So it's a custom creation here. I like the tiles. Tiles are here and over here. The bathroom is a little dark and dingy for my taste, you know. But that's because I have the curtains drawn also. But you know, if I undraw the curtains, then everybody can see me walking around in my underwear right now. The lighting's not bad. For reading, I would have put a reading light here, or some kind of, some reading lights there, or sconces maybe. I know that a friend of mine recently showed me some sconces that are rechargeable, and those would go really well here for reading because I was reading my book last night and I only read a couple of chapters because it was kind of dark, you know. And I am 58 and I do wear reading glasses now, and I'm definitely noticing that my vision has declined in the past 15 years or so. But anyways, so the space here is definitely interesting. Last night I was looking up at this here, and you might not see it immediately. In fact, you might see Central America there, or no, pardon me, South America, Brazil and Chile and Peru and Bolivia and all that stuff. But if you stand back here, I'm going to lay on top of the bed here for a moment. This is what I was looking at last night. It looked like somebody dancing. That's their head on top. That's their knee coming this way, other foot down behind it, and an arm that way. And I kind of just imagined somebody dancing there. So anyways, this is a really cool space, a good value. I felt it was a good value for everything I have. Even has a refrigerator. See that? I didn't mention that earlier. A refrigerator. So, like I could easily stay here a couple or a few nights. But I chose to try out multiple places. So I will be leaving here in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm going to shower and then I'm going to take off and go into, well, I'm already in the center of town, so I don't have to go far to get something to eat. And then I'll wander probably about 3/4 of a mile to my next unit. And I'll be staying there for 2 nights and then another place for, I believe, 3 nights or maybe 2 more nights. I forget now.